Hey, Anna,
Hey, Mike.
I got a surprise for you.
What's that?
Well, I have set up a Patreon page for A Dog's Life.
What's that then?
Well, Patreon is like a crowdfunding thing, so people who love the show can support us, and it's called A Dog's Life Club.
A club. I like the idea of being a club, like a private members club.
Well, yeah, so it's not quite that fancy, but it's, step one to getting there. So there's two tiers. For only £4 a month, you can be an official patron on tier one. And if you love A Dog's Life, and I'm guessing you do, or you wouldn't be listening to this now, and you want to help to support us, that's what you can do for just £1 a week. That's £1 per episode. That's less than a coffee, less than a newspaper. Or you can join tier two, which is top dog.
Top dog.
And with that, for £10 a month, you will get access to all sorts of bonus content. You know that talk you did at the Natural Health Show during the summer? And people have been asking to hear that. Well, if you join Patreon, you will be able to hear that full talk. We'll do some hot takes on some breaking news, all that kind of stuff you do at Jeremy Vine. But the best bit is your training course.
I know, yes. So, my top tips on various things, isn't it, Mike? Like walking to heel or training your dog to go into their bed on command, or a number of all sorts of other things, including even training your dog to walk backwards.
Exactly. So once a month, people will get a new lesson to help train their dogs.
So, Mike, hang on though. What if people can't afford to do the Patreon or might not feel it's relevant for them, but they still want to listen to A Dog's Life? Is it still free?
You can still listen to it for free every Sunday on Apple or Spotify or even YouTube now, just like you've been doing now. You don't have to pay. You can follow us and subscribe for free and keep it as it is if that's what you like. But if you'd like to help support us and keep us going, join Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/adogslife, or you can find the links in the show notes.
The link is always in the show notes. Hey, Mr. Binks, you know how I believe that all dogs are emotional support dogs. You definitely are. But today we're meeting up with Richard Mearns and Selena Valentine to talk about a new charity called Assistance Dog Assessment Association, which is helping independent dog owners who have trained their dogs to become assistance dogs. I'm Anna Webb. Welcome to A Dog's Life. Welcome, Richard, back to A Dog's Life.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Anna. It's good to be here again.
Yeah, well, I'm so excited about our conversation today. And so I'm also going to introduce the amazing Selena Valentine.
Hiya, thank you and welcome.
Oh, no, lovely to meet you, because you're kind of working with Richard on this project that we're announcing, really, which is the Assistance Dog Assessment Association. Now, this is a charity, isn't it, Richard?
Yes, that's right. It's a brand new charity.
Brand new charity that, in a way, has been, the way I see it, been born out of quite a lot of the problems that you've been through, in a way, with your own assistance dog, Ziggy.
That's right. Yeah. So it's very much a charity based around sort of standardising assistance dogs and ensuring that owner-trained service users get the similar opportunities that other charities provide to assistance dogs, as well as other things which we're going to touch on within this.
Because there's a kind of a bit of a confusion, isn't there, or a vague line between certain assistance dogs and other assistance dogs, in so much as, I think, perhaps if you have a physical disability, the access is more obvious to be granted than for an invisible disability, as it were.
Absolutely. Yeah, there is across the UK a lack of clarity, and to be fair, across the world, a lack of clarity of what an assistance dog is. Every day you see the standard assistance dogs around various charities, really good charities doing great things, and what we wanted to do was set out to sort of open the door up to assistance dogs, to individuals who need assistance dogs, who have a disability and it is a recognised disability, to enable them to have the confidence to go out and carry out their normal day-to-day tasks.
So would the ADAA train the dogs, find the dogs, I'm going to bring Selena in here, and then qualify the dogs? Or would it be a bit of the other way, that your actual clients have got a suitable dog and they want to build that dog up to become a qualified assistance dog?
It's a really good question. So we stand out from the crowd in that we do not do any of the training. We don't breed any dogs. We only offer an independent assessment for dogs that are with disabled handlers. So we do not help you find the dog, we don't breed them, and we do not train them. We're just an independent assessment.
So could that make things more difficult for you in a way, in that some real, a person really in need with, severe emotional trauma would love their dog to come with them everywhere, but when push comes to shove, as it were, their dog isn't going to qualify for whatever reason? It might be too anxious, it might be slightly reactive, it might be a rescue that has got previous trauma themselves. Might that happen?
Yeah, that might definitely happen, and the reason behind ADAA is to ensure that these dogs are fit and healthy and they cope with these stressful situations. I think people underestimate actually how stressful it can be for an assistance dog, especially when you take them to busy environments like airports and aeroplanes and things like that. So yeah, we're here to look at the health of the dog above everything else.
Yeah, no, totally. But I think all the charities do that.
Yes, definitely.
But it's also about, I suppose, managing people's expectations, perhaps.
Yeah.
In certain situations. I know I was helping a lovely lady train her very working type Labrador to help her just become an emotional support dog. Well, sadly, we didn't pass bronze on first go of the Good Citizen Dog Scheme Award, which is one of the parameters for some organisations to kind of go forth with further training. So anyway, we're working on it all, but she's a very highly tuned working gun dog, so they're not always the easiest, because Ziggy here, Richard's loyal co-pilot.
Very much so, yeah.
He's half and half, isn't he?
Yeah, so he's half show and half working lab. And what's crucial about the work the ADA is doing is focus very much on assistance dogs. So dogs that carry out a task similar to other charities, but dogs that carry out tasks for individuals. So it can be any type of dog, any breed of dog generally. And what we will do is we've got a network of assessors across the UK in various locations where we will assess an individual's application, and that assessment is in relation to the service user themselves, their disability and evidence of their disability, and so on and so forth. And then we also have the second phase, which is in relation to the dog. We have strict guidelines on the age of the dog, the health of the dog, and those sort of key areas to ensure that we've got the right balance. We've got somebody who requires a dog that has a need for a dog, and so a dog that is suitably trained, because like Selena said, we don't train them up. This is about the owner providing adequate training to do the tasks to help them negate their disability, which is very key in this to provide that sort of clarity.
Right, yeah, and it's really fulfilling a gap, isn't it, that's existing in the industry at the minute, because not everybody can wait for years to, put their name on the list for a dog from one of the many, other organisations that do, as you say, Selena, breed and have their own breeding programme. But these are under the Assistance UK dogs, aren't they?
Yeah, so those kind of programmes generally are under Assistance Dogs UK. There are a couple of organisations out there, charities out there, that do it themselves as well, that aren't part of Assistance Dogs UK, and they're all perfectly legal as well, and they offer people some great opportunities that, like you say, they can't wait the time it takes for some of the other organisations. So yeah.
Exactly, because all of the puppies that are born, they're like guide dogs. They spend a year of their lives as, their puppy walker, learning the ropes and so on. So, you are you are looking at a minimum of 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
In many instances.
It takes a long time to train an assistance dog, and whether you're doing it yourself or whether you're through a charity or they're training it for you, it does take on average about 2 years.
Yes.
It's a long time.
Well,
a long time.
Absolutely. If you're waiting for one, it certainly is.
Yeah.
You know, but Selina, your experience kind of goes before you. You've trained yourself, haven't you? Lots of assistance dogs.
Yes. So I've worked with another organisation, Canine Generated Independence, who kind of really kicked off the owner trained area back in 2016. They became an amalgamation of individuals who wanted to wear something that was the same. So we all came together and we started that. So I was a qualified dog trainer, so I aided with training assistance dogs for them and assessing them for them. And Canine Generated Independence is absolutely fantastic, and I think ADAA is the next step forward for the owner-trained industry.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited about this. I mean, from your perspective, again, Selina, as a dog trainer, do you think realistically certain dogs are kind of going to make the grade more than other breeds, or is that being totally doggist? So just thinking here of my bull terrier. I mean, do you think you'll see many bull terriers passing the exams?
It's down to each dog and their own personality. I'm not a breedist. I'd hate to say that every Labrador will make it and every Bull Terrier won't. It's down to each individual dog.
Of course it is. I was just quite hilariously, actually. I just wouldn't like to. No, but I mean, certainly as an icebreaker, for people, dogs are just so brilliant, and dogs help us so much. I mean, we may as well say we're recording this as the nation is in mourning from our dear Queen, who's recently passed, and we're actually in the Queen Elizabeth Stadium, aren't we?
In the Olympic Park,
and that's where we are, in the Olympic Park, and it's just everyone's just thinking about dogs at the moment relating to the Queen, or I am, and this is why it's so important that your charity is launching, or has launched, because everyone deserves the joy and the support of a canine companion, and dogs do make so much of a difference bringing back independence. I mean, I argued on air the other night, I didn't argue, but I postulated that the Queen's first corgi was really her first consort, because she was quite nervous at public speaking and very young. And you look at the photos of her with her first corgi, Susan, and it is pure joy. Those photos epitomise pure joy. And in a way, this is what you're helping people, obtain on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think dogs are incredible. Animals are incredible. For me, obviously, my life turned around when I had Ziggy introduced to it. And to understand the process of getting to a standard where you can call your dog an assistance dog is slightly different to calling your dog an emotional support dog, because I would argue most dogs are emotional support dogs at some point, because they recognise behaviours. They will always turn to their owners. With assistance dogs, crucially, they're that next step up. They do the emotional support, and then on top of that, they carry out their tasks. They carry out all the bits in between. And that is such an important thing, especially for someone with a disability. Ziggy is a he carries out a number of tasks. He's an enabler. He enables me to go out and do normal things, and that is the key. That is the key element to what we're trying to do is to bridge that gap of the owner-trained community who require dogs to carry out tasks for them. And once those dogs go forwards, they'll have a lead slip which we will provide as part of the qualification assessment process, and they will have the ability to have the confidence that their dog is up to the anticipated, expected standards of any other assistance dog in the UK.
And will the charity really be campaigning for access awareness, if you like, because it seems to me that the issue still keeps happening. Not only with you, Richard, I've heard some other awful stories of people being thrown out of various food establishments and, you name it, public places, because, you know, it wasn't clear. I think if you think a guide dog for the blind maybe gets in, but I've heard stories where that hasn't even happened. So there's a lot of education that I think also needs to go along parallel with this.
Yes, definitely. We are very proactive in aiding service providers with education that not all disabilities are people in wheelchairs, they're not all visible disabilities, and that the dogs are here to help people with a whole array of different tasks for each individual person. So we are very, very proactive in that.
Oh, that's good. It needs to happen. I mean, it's really quite shocking because it is actually breaking the law.
Yeah, it's a very important role as well, because giving someone the confidence to go out in their daily sort of living their life normally. I think one of the key challenges is the threat or fear of having that refusal, because it is very different going shopping without an assistance dog than it is with an assistance dog. I know from experience, and I know from anecdotal experience, that people are stared at more. People want to go out and do their normal day-to-day tasks. You get children saying, "Oh, why is that dog in the shop?" And the parents going, "Oh, that's a special dog," or "Stay away from that dog, clear of that dog." All of those positive noises, but you also get the sort of negative things where you walk in, you want to go out and buy your shopping, and you get refused entry at the outset, which is damaging to the individual as much as it is potentially breaking the law. It has a knock-on effect, because that individual, and I've experienced it, will not want to go to that shop again, will not want to do their normal day-to-day living. And having to live with a disability is difficult at times. Having to live with a disability where you have an assistance dog with you, I think it's just as difficult, because you are saying, "I have a disability," and you are standing out and showing that you are continuing to live a normal life because of that with an assistance dog. And in the owner trained community, that's prevalent. Our lead slips that we will provide give a small sort of nod to the fact that the dog is qualified, and it gives the confidence to the service user that their dog is to standard. But as you say, it will happen. It's a societal thing, and not only is it societal, but it's a legislative thing, and I think it's a long game. I think people have been lobbying for a number of years, and it won't be a change anytime soon. So awareness is key, education is key, and business is stepping up to the mark, and rather than hiding behind we have complied with legislation, actually taking that one step further and saying, we've complied with it and we've taught our staff, and I think that's very important.
You know, and it is about education and of the staff in all dog-friendly establishments, really. And I find it ironic because dog-friendly, hashtag dog-friendly, has really boomed. You know, many canny entrepreneurs are cashing in on the £100. So it does make sense, as you're saying, economically. You know,
Absolutely.
Those shops don't want Richard in there with Ziggy spending his money, not going to a competitor's place instead, you know. But Selina, I mean, for you over the years, you know, how have you seen this change, or do you think we're still a bit stuck in a rut with our attitudes on assistance dogs?
I think we're still very stuck in a rut. I myself have gone, obviously I'm in a wheelchair, and I've gone with my assistance dog who's now retired, and I've had people say to me, "Oh no, only guide dogs are allowed in here." And I've tried to argue with them, and then in the end I just go, yeah, he's a guide dog, and carry on with my shop. Quite clearly I can see, because I'm in a wheelchair and I can see where I'm going. And he says assistance dog, but I kind of think, well, I can't be bothered to argue with you. But most definitely, of late I've been training my newest assistance dog, and because the training sessions are short, I've done little stints walking into the shops rather than getting my wheelchair out, because I'm literally in and out, and I've had a lot more access refusals just because I'm stood up and not in my wheelchair. Put me back in the wheelchair and I don't have the refusals. So we still have this sort of divide between what is disabled and what isn't disabled.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Anna.
I was just going to ask, are you around later, maybe just to meet up and have a chat about that project?
I'd love to, but after we finish this Zoom, I've got to go to the corner shop and get another box of sandwich bags.
Oh, gosh, sandwich bags. Golly.
You know why?
I do know why, because we feed Paleo Ridge, and Paleo Ridge offers such a rich, diverse range of protein sources that it's such a great idea to thaw out, for example, wild venison and duck.
Well, that's what I've done. So ours is just defrosting now, and by the time I'm done, it'll be defrosted. But it's a kilogram box, and obviously he's not going to eat all that today. So I'm going to take it out and put him in the different sandwich bags, and we put him back in the freezer, and he's got his meal for every day.
That's brilliant. But you see, what I do, I go a step further. So when we get a delivery, I might also thaw out, for example, their lamb tripe and chicken. So that what I'm doing is decanting different protein sources into different freezer bags so that I can do this, which is ensure that Prudence and Mr. Binks, in every meal, they eat about 4 different protein sources per meal. Yeah, because there's evidence now out there in the field of nutrition that actually concurs that a minimum of 3, ideally more, protein sources in a bowl at one time will maximize the microbiome and boost your dog's immune system.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, we'll do that then. So I should then defrost like the tripe, the lamb tripe I have.
Yeah, definitely.
As well, and mix them together.
I mean, for me, I always have a bit of tripe in there. And I love the way that Paleo Ridge offers both beef tripe and lamb tripe, which is quite unusual. And it allows, 2 different protein sources of tripe, which raw green tripe, for me anyway, is like an elixir for dogs.
Well, we know, everyone knows Anna Webb is the queen of tripe.
Yes. What an accolade.
So if people want to get their tripe and various sources of protein from Paleo Ridge, they go to
paleoridge.co.uk. In terms of emotional support, is that, that obviously is, in my view, an assistance dog. If you, I won't go into my particular client's individual details, but trauma has meant she hates driving on a motorway on her own. The dog's already given her so much more confidence, talking to people on the pavement, in the park, able to actually drive around the North Circular, and this is a massive achievement already. Where do other charities stand on emotional support?
It's a really good question, and I'm so pleased that your client has progressed with the aid of a dog. That is absolutely lovely to hear.
It's brilliant actually, and the dog's still very, very young actually.
Yeah, it's amazing what dogs can do.
I know.
It really is. You don't realise it until you have it. Again, I myself, I have panic attacks because of my condition, and having my dog with me made my life so much easier to go out because I knew I had the support of him there, or I could turn to him if I needed him. But ADAA, we do ask that the dogs have 3 tasks that they can do for the handler. So even on an emotional support level, if the dog is trained to do things like distract the handler by nudging them or taking them to an exit, they wouldn't be classed as an emotional support dog, they'd be classed as a mental health dog. An emotional support dog is a dog that isn't trained to do anything for somebody, they are just comforting there when they're in presence with them. So it's a bit of a fine line.
Right,
but
yeah.
They would be classed as a mental health dog because they'd have tasks that they could do for somebody.
Okay, but an emotional support dog wouldn't be a mental health dog?
No.
Even though it is?
No, just having the comfort of having your dog in the presence doesn't make them an assistance dog.
Okay. No, a lot of people have asked me this.
Yeah, it is a very fine line, and I revert back to what I was saying earlier. By having a definition and in legislation that would assist.
Yeah.
But getting that definition is a lot harder than just asking someone to chuck a line in at the bottom of legislation. than putting an A next to it.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to get to that point. And like we said, we all love dogs. They are so valuable generally, and assistance dogs are just as valuable, and if not more so because of the need to complete those tasks, because by completing those tasks they take the emotional support element to the next level, and that next level is very much the support and ability to normalise the disabled service user's life.
Yeah, and what I'm so kind of touched by in a way, or impressed, or proud of, is you, Richard, because you've gone from not having had a dog to bringing Ziggy into your life, and now you're spearheading this charity to help others, which I just think is amazing. So much has Ziggy inspired you.
Yeah, I think it's very much a full circle, because like I've mentioned previously on previous podcasts, I went through a traumatic time, and as a result of that I ended up in a position where I was suicidal and nearly took my own life. And then a number of years later, life turned around. Ziggy was introduced via a charity. We left that charity and then continued on our own, and then became owner trained. So all of the stuff Ziggy does is reaffirmed by me, the training is done by me, and the continuation of what at times I laugh at is done by me. But he is an exceptional dog, and by giving me that opportunity, it then turned the opportunity around to be able to become a trustee of the charity. Selena and others led forwards with this, and it's something that I can get behind and support wholly, because purely my drive to get it right for others is so important to me, because it's where I was when I was having difficult times, and it's given me that ability to deliver on this charity, and that's something that we need to push forwards on.
Yeah, Selena, I mean, you must concur with all that.
Oh, 100%. I mean, going back to the start of my journey, I looked at some of the charities, and one in particular said to me, if I found a dog trainer in the area that could help me, I could become a member of their charity. And I sat down and I thought about it, and I thought, well, if I become a dog trainer, I can help more people. And that's where my journey began. And it actually all started from me being disabled, and I want to give back to the owner trained community the way that I've gained from it, very much the same as Richard.
Yeah, no, tell me about your dogs then. So obviously I've met Ziggy.
Yeah, so my original assistance dog was a chocolate Labrador called Cougar. So he's also, like Ziggy, he is a mix between a working and a show lab. And he's very goofy as well, bit of a joker. He is 12 in February, so he has now retired because he's got arthritis. So he's now resting and putting his feet up and showing the little un, who is a little Dutch pointer, the way to do things. But the Dutch pointer is on a bit of a break from training for the next 6 months while his hormones balance out.
Oh, okay. So he hit teenage and started to rebel. But a Dutch pointer, it's so interesting actually. So I've been talking to, there's a Dutch pointer show that happens in Essex every year. Do you know the one I mean? Oh gosh, yes. So they were reaching out saying, oh, you know, would I go along and chat on the microphone and everything, but it clashed with something, so I couldn't do it. But they're very rare, aren't they?
They are very rare indeed, and that's what drew me to them. And in answer to your question, they're not the ideal breed to go for.
Interesting point.
But I really liked the breed, so I thought, well, he'll make it or he won't. Whatever, he is mine. And we'll see where we go. But yeah, hormones have taken charge at the moment, so hence why I am dogless with me today.
So would you as assessors insist that a dog was spayed or neutered to become qualified?
So we don't. We're one of the only charities that don't have that, and that's partly because they are the owner's dogs.
Okay.
So we don't feel that it's right to force it upon people, and there are studies showing that there are health benefits to keeping dogs entire. as well as well as for behavioural reasons. So we're not forcing it on anybody. If their dog is, then they've done it, and that's that. And if they're not, then they're not.
And the other thing, I remember I was talking at an event a few years ago, and this wonderful lady, I won't name the charity, came over and said, I so enjoyed your talk, loved your talk, which was about nutrition. And she said, oh, my previous dogs, they all ate, raw diet, Anna. But unfortunately, I'm tied to feed my dog now with what the charity, gives me. And I could tell she was a bit mortified by this, say the least. So I think, she would have preferred to feed something else, not mentioning any names. So would it be similar with what dogs eat? They can eat what they want?
Yeah, they can eat what they want within reason, obviously dog appropriate food.
Oh yeah, and I mean dog appropriate food.
No vegan diets for the dogs.
No.
But yeah, again, because they are the owner's dogs, they can feed them what they feel is necessary for their dogs.
Yeah, I think this is so great. So how many trustees are involved?
So there's 4 trustees.
Right.
So there's Peter Corbin, Kirsten
Oh,
Dilliers.
I know Peter Corbin.
5 now. 5. There's 5 including me.
Right.
Let's get the maths right.
Let's try that one again.
Let's try that one. So there's Peter Corbin, Selena, myself, Kirsten, and Sandra. So it's always 4 because I'm the 5th. And all of those trustees come from a variety of backgrounds, worked with a variety of charities, and have a very sort of dog-focused approach, because that is key to getting this right.
Absolutely.
You can rock up with a dog, but unless your focus is that the dog can do the job and the welfare of that dog is right for the owner as much as the owner is right for the dog, that is the key to getting this right in the sort of owner-trained sector. Because what we do is we assess them at the end. So that is our role, is to provide them with that confidence and that assessment to walk out and say that their dog is up to standard and have that backing that they are considered as an assistance dog.
Yes.
And that's very important.
No, it really is, and I'm fortunate to have met Peter several times. He was involved with medical detection dogs at one point, which I was involved with for quite a few years actually, which is brilliant. And Kirsten I know as well. She's a great dog trainer, and so that it's almost like it's grassroots so it's not just celebrity.
Yeah, no, it's
supported that might give you a bit of that extra, sparkle, but actually, really, you need people that can talk the talk and walk the walk.
Yep, exactly. And like Richard said, we've all got the experience within the assistance dog industry, whether it's owner trained or not. We've got behaviourists involved, so we've got our passion is for the dogs and like Richard said, the welfare of the dogs.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. But also the people, Oh,
yes.
Because, I know from doing training how it really boosts your confidence, training a dog.
Oh, yeah.
I learnt that as a child. It was fantastic. So actually doing the training yourself with your dog, can help the process, in fact.
It's a great achievement. You feel happy and excited about the tasks that you've taught them to do.
Yeah, because it's not easy. Let's face it, training a dog is not necessarily easy, and it takes a lot of patience, consistency, repetition, and commitment, and planning. Right, so, Richard. Right, we're going to do the Queen Elizabeth line today, a new train line. That whole station, the whole train smells differently to any other line at the moment because it's brand new. All these things make a big difference to a dog.
Definitely. If you think about the way they see the world as well through their nose, the things that we don't see, the noises, like say the smells, it's crazy. It's every time we put them in that kind of situation, we expect them to be perfect. And we have to remember that they are a dog and they have their own experiences and feelings as well. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, amazing. So, in terms of funding, people listening that might want to support you, find out more, Richard, what's the plan?
Yeah, so we, at the minute, are very new, very young, and it's very much the chicken and egg scenario. We know full well that there will be, as with all the other charities, interest in applying to have your dog assessed. And for us at the minute, we very much need funding, because in order to provide the adequate assessments, we need the suitable trainers. We need to ensure that the costs are covered for those trainers. It is very low cost across the board, but we need that support. We need that funding. As with every charity, everyone wants someone's pound somewhere down the line, and for us, we want businesses to come along and sponsor us to provide that support for service users. We want individuals, if they feel that they are able to connect with our mission, is to come to us and offer to raise money for us, doing events, doing anything, be it bake sale, be it running a marathon, anything in between. We really want people to come forwards and really assist us delivering on what we have. We've got 13 qualified dogs at the minute, which sounds small, but it's huge for what we've done it on, because we have done it on a shoestring. And I think that to enable us to get this flowing and get all of these people the right support in the right place, we would love people to come forward, donate money where they can, and they can do that on our website. They can do it via Amazon Smile as well, so they can donate when they purchase on Amazon. There's various ways. If they look at our website and follow through to us, we're developing our social media platforms. Again, this is done by 5 volunteers.
Social media is so tight. Your website, I love it. I mean, orange is one of my favourite colours, so I love the branding, and it's very clear. It's not too long-winded. Gets to the point, which is great, and it's clear where you donate. But I guess as well, it's about getting the momentum, engaging the press, getting the case studies, getting awareness out now. We can all get out and about more now, which is fantastic. And perhaps go to events like Discover Dogs maybe coming up, have a presence there. And
so we're slowly developing that, but with all of these events comes a cost, and that's like I say, we've been doing this on a shoestring and trying to get this off the ground, because it's working. People are able to use their dogs as assistance dogs and have obtained access to various premises. They have also flown around the world, and
universities. We've got universities lining up for the next year's students to have their dogs assessed so they can be on campus with them.
Oh, that's great. That is brilliant. And the aeroplane thing, I think, is amazing, because, I mean, so many people write to me and say, Annie, I'm flying over to the States, or a long flight, I want my dog in the cabin, and I'll say, well, it's not going to get in the cabin.
Good luck with that. It's very difficult, and especially aviation industry itself is very difficult, because it's not about the UK legislation, it's about international legislation as much as anything else. So it is really bridging gaps, and we can start that process and build on that, and that's stuff that we will be working on in the future to really bridge that gap, to enable people to do that. Obviously there will still be certain parameters that the industry will set we won't be able to meet sometimes, but actually in a majority of cases we will, and that's what is important about this, and this charity and the ADA as a whole, is we are doing this to make life easier for service users. We're doing this to make life better for people, and that is a massive impactful factor, because these dogs will be saving their owners' lives. They will be enabling those owners to do things that they wouldn't ordinarily do.
Yeah, things that you take for granted.
Absolutely.
That's the thing, and they are our saviours, dogs, man's best friends. So I think this is brilliant, and congratulations, guys. I think perhaps everyone's getting ready here in Olympic Park to tidy up the gardens. I can hear a lawnmower going off in the background.
Yeah.
So let's sign off here. But listen, let's do another one. I'd love to even talk to some of your trained dogs and their owners, and keep the momentum going.
Thank you for having us, but crucially, if you're listening to this and you've got this far, please look us up, please donate to us, please help us deliver something that will be so valuable to so many. There's 2-year waiting lists for charities. We don't want to be that 2-year waiting list. We want to be as short as possible, and we want to be able to provide and deliver to the owner trained service users with assistance dogs to enable them to carry out their tasks. So any help would be amazing.
Just to make your ordinary dog extraordinary.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That's our show, Mr. Binks. What did you think? Yes, I know this is really different, and it's aiming to bridge a big gap. And you're right, it is time for Woof of the Week. All dogs are our emotional support dogs, but to become an assistance dog, it just takes a little extra to go to that extra level. Well, I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, go on, rate and review the show wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again to Richard Mearns and Selena Valentine for joining me, and all the links to Assistance Dog Assessment Association are in the show notes. Thanks, of course, to Mike Hansen, my producer, for all the music and production as ever. Find out more about him at Pod People UK. And I'm at Anna Webb Dogs. What's that, Mr. Binks? Yes, you're right. We will be back in your feed next Sunday. So why don't you subscribe now? It's free. That way you'll never miss another show. Bye for now.
Pod People.